Cool.
Thank you. So, hello everyone, welcome to the Flatcar office hours for the month of August. So, we will be having a very short meeting today. We don't have a lot of things on the agenda, but we do have a bunch of announcements to make. So, before going over to the announcements, we do have Matthew who will be giving a recap of what happened at the FrostCon with Flatcar and how the event was in general. And then he will be demoing the system D6X Kubernetes images and around Trust API. So handing over to Mike to Matthew.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks, Sayan, for the introduction. I will try to be quick. I'm going to share my screen. And of course, it doesn't work with Edge. Okay, my browser has totally froze. So
Did he just get kicked from the meeting?
No, I guess his browser crashed. He's back.
okay, second try. Okay, that looks better, but I lost all my tabs. Yes, so you should see my screen. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this weekend I was in Bonn, in Germany for the FrostCon with some few members of the Flatcar team. So you can see some pictures. Basically, we had a Flatcar booth where for 2 days, where we just share information and demo and introduce Flatcar to people that was not aware about the operating system. But yeah, that was great to meet community as usual. And we had the opportunity to give 2 workshops, one in English regarding getting started with Flatcar. So it was a tutorial from how to deploy locally with QEMU to deploy in OpenStack using Terraform and how to manage auto-update of Flatcar. So that was interesting for people to actually play with the operating system and to see the specificities of Flatcar. And we had another workshop in German, how to extend Flatcar using the Flatcar SDK. It was given by Thilo. And yeah, that was interesting too. People learn how to extend the OS, for example, by adding a new package and yeah, build locally the image and play with it. So yeah, that was the FrostCon, today's event. Thanks again for everyone involved and for the FrostCon organizer for such a great event. This is always a pleasure to come to this event. And yeah, that's it for the FrostCon event. Do you have any question regarding the conference or? Okay. So system D6X now. Recently, if I go on the Flatcar C6 bakery, we did a release of the C6 bakery. So this is something new, and this is the first release. And what did we release? Some system D6X images. So these are pre-built, and you can use it and consume it in your operating system. So that's the idea. And I'm going to quickly show how to use, for example, Kubernetes C6 image directly consumed from the bakery. So the idea is that you don't need now anymore to build a C6 image on your computer. You can use the one provided by the release. Pretty convenient. So if we check the current state of Flatcar and Kubernetes, for example, in the cluster API project, we currently need to build using the image builder a bundle of Flatcar and Kubernetes components. And it's not pretty convenient because if you want to upgrade, for example, Kubernetes version, you need to wait for a new Kubernetes image built by the image builder. And the same if you want to upgrade Flatcar, you need to wait for an image build with a new version of Flatcar. So it works fine. It's the way to do currently, but yeah, as I said, it's not quite flexible as we would like to see it. With systemd sysx, we can provide a new way to ship Kubernetes with Flatcar. The idea is still to have this bundle, but instead of being directly built with the image builder, you can use systemd sysx plus ignition. So when Flatcar instance will boot, it will download the systemd sysx image from the bakery, for example, and it will merge the image using systemd sysx. So you have a plain Flatcar image and Kubernetes components deployed on it. So this is cool because let's suppose you have a new version of Kubernetes, for example, the 1.28, which is soon released. You don't have to wait for a new image built by the image builder. You can just download the new Kubernetes sysx image and reboot your node. Even soft reboot should work, and you get your upgrade done. No need to wait for a new image builder release. So that's the idea. Let's see quickly how does it work with a quick demo. So I will try to show you how to deploy a cluster using version 1.27, no, sorry, 1.26, and we will try to upgrade automatically the cluster to 1.27. So this is a live demo, and I hope the gods of the demo are with me because I want to show you cluster API deployment and auto update. So I hope everything will be all right. So I already have deployed management cluster locally using Kind, and I already configure it as an OpenStack management cluster. So now I can just generate the cluster configuration for the workload cluster and apply it. So if I generate the cluster configuration, yeah, this one. So I'm asking to generate it for version 1.26. And if we check the generated manifest, we can see some interesting components. For example, the download of a sysx image of Kubernetes. So it says that we are going to download the sysx image of Kubernetes 1.26. And we have this other interesting component. This is a sysupdate configuration. So it means that when the instance is going to boot, we have one timer that is going to run, and each between 2 and 6 hours, it will check for a new release on the bakery. And if there is a new release on the bakery, it will download it. So that's the interesting part.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You are showing us some demo on the console because right now the only thing I can see is your slide, and I have heard some typing. So
yeah, thanks for the heads up.
A bit late, but sorry about that.
No, that's all right. You didn't miss anything. So I will share my entire screen. That should be okay now.
Yeah, now I can see your editor, I guess.
Perfect. You didn't miss anything. So yeah, quickly showing back the Kubernetes 1.26 Kubernetes sysx image. So this is downloaded using Ignition. And we have, this interesting component that I was showing. So this is a sys update configuration. So it asks to the systemd sysupdate software to check between 2 and 6 hours if there is a new release on the sysx bakery. And if there is a new release, it will download it and create a symlink to the /etc extension. So this is automatically done by systemd sysupdate. And once the update is done, it will create a file run on a /run/reboot required. And this file is going to be watched by external stuff, like, for example, cured, which is a Kubernetes update reboot daemon. And it will ask for the instance to reboot. And this is how we can reboot a cluster using this mechanism. So now we are going to apply this. and we will wait for having a control plane up and running. So we will deploy the rest of the cluster. It shouldn't be long. And for demo purpose, I asked to systemd update to watch for a new release after 2 or 3 minutes after the boot. Like so, we don't need to wait between 2 and 6 hours to have an update to be present. So yeah, since we have on the bakery, I just shown here, we have a Kubernetes 1.27. It will be seen as a new release because we currently deploy in 1.26. So that's the idea. I can see that I have now one replica being deployed. So in a few seconds, I should have a control plane. Since I close all my tabs, I need to find my gist for the demo. So this is public if you want to reproduce at home how to deploy Kubernetes cluster on OpenStack. Do you have any question at this point? Okay, then I will continue with the usual steps. So now my control plane is deployed, so I can get my I can get my configuration.
Using some older version of the cluster CTO?
Oh no, I updated yesterday, so the demo gods are starting to messing up with me. Okay. Well, since this is a default namespace, I can remove it. And let's try to see if it works. Okay, I think I have some issues here.
Demo goals are not pleased. It probably didn't do a necessary sacrifice, I think.
Okay, what's this?
Oh,
this is not a kube config. What's going on here? Oh, that's this one. No, I don't want to correct this. Okay. Okay. So I'm now applying the CNI configuration to get my control plane ready. Since a few releases of Kubernetes, you need to have the external cloud controller manager. So you need to perform further steps to configure it. And I just need to create the secret and deploy the OpenStack Cloud Controller Manager. And okay, so now I have one control plane and one worker ready, up and running. We can see that they run under version 1.26. For demo purpose, we can deploy Nginx on it. And we can see that Nginx is creating or almost running. So we have Nginx deployed on a cluster. The cluster is running this version of Kubernetes 1.26, and we can even check the operating system. So it's Flatcar, it's the current beta of Flatcar. So it's a plain Flatcar image. We don't use the image builder. And if we watch for this output, we will see in a few seconds/minutes the nodes that are getting shut down, then rebooted with a new version of Kubernetes. And in the meantime, I can go on OpenStack to show you the instance, for example, for the control plane. I can SSH into the instance to see the actual sysx image being used and consumed. So I'm now logged on the control plane, and if I check for the timer, I can see that I have a systemd sysupdate timer that runs 33 seconds ago. So if we check the output of systemd sysupdate, we can see that it downloaded here from the sysx bakery, and it installed a new version, successfully installed update 1.27.4, which is great. And now it needs to be reboot because we added a new version of Kubernetes. The missing step to get
could you show if this reboot required flag file was actually created?
Yeah, it should be here. There is nothing inside. It's just a plain file that is being touched.
Yeah, but it's still there, right?
Yeah, it's there. It's
Cool.
there because it needs to be. We need to reboot. But as I said, we need to use Curd. So Curd is a project by WeaveWorks. So it's Kubernetes update reboot daemon, if I recall correctly. So this is the manifest downloaded directly from GitHub. So it's just you follow the documentation. And I just override the default config to add this period of 15 seconds. So if there is a run reboot required files being created, it will wait 15 seconds before actually reboot. The default period is 1 hour. So once again, for demo purpose, I don't want to wait 1 hour. And we can apply this file to deploy Curd on the nodes. So now if I check, I should get a daemon set being created. Yeah, I have 2 daemon set of curate created on the 2 nodes. And if I'm going back to not this one, I can still check the nodes, and I should see them being slowly upgraded. And I can show you, well, I don't know, nothing in the meantime. We just need to wait now, and that should work. If I didn't mess the demo, that was not easy. Edge has crashed since the beginning, so I lost all my tabs, and as usual, demo is always complicated to run. So, but you have to trust me if it doesn't work. Ah, okay, perfect. So we have a scheduling disabled. So it means Curate is saying, okay, don't deploy nothing on the control plane as usual. You can see that I lost the hand. It means the control plane is rebooting. And after a few seconds, I should have my node being reboot. And with the latest release of systemd, you can now soft reboot. So you don't need to actually shut down the instance. You can just soft reboot. And it's pretty convenient for this use case. And perfect. We can see that we now have a control plane deployed on version 1.27.4. And after a few seconds, it will be ready. And once it will be ready, Curate will shut down the worker node. So it will upgrade to 1.27. So yeah, that's the idea. Sorry for the demo. It was a bit long. And to conclude, and going further, the idea would be to leverage the use components feature to have more granular control, because with systemd update, you can say, okay, this is Docker component, this is Kubernetes component, this is whatever components, and you can control which one is getting upgraded. We should be able to reboot only when there is a new upgrade, because currently it's not the case. So each time there is a check and there is even nothing to do, it will reboot. So this is not something we want, of course. So yeah, it can be a simple workaround. And finally, as you've seen into the ignition configuration, we hardcode the Kubernetes version, for example, in the start to 1.26. And the idea would be to directly use systemd update to download the current release, so we don't need to hardcode anything into the ignition configuration. Everything is is work in progress in this gist. So if you have any comment, feedback, or ideas, or stuff related, you can drop on this gist. And we can see that now the control plane is getting ready. So the worker node should, yeah, it's reloading now. So it ends the presentation. Sorry once again for the long time of demo. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any question, you can ask them on Matrix. Getting back to Sayan.
Thanks, Matthew, for the wonderful demo. So we will now move to the release planning session. I will quickly share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give an update,
no.
we are working on release at the moment. It would be having a major alpha release, beta stable, and LTS would be a maintenance release. And all the tests are mostly green. We are primarily working on getting the Equinix metal ARM test to pass. So once that's done, we would go into the later steps in the release. Just to give you an announcement, the next release, we won't have a release towards the end of this month. The next release would be happening on 4th of September. So so keeping so in the meantime, I think the team would be focusing on the blockers that are primarily blocking the beta and stable to go major. And as the team is mostly on vacation, so there would be a slower progress in overall work. And just to update, we would also not have the developer sync meeting, which happens once a month towards the end of the month. So that is also something we would be canceling. So the next time we meet, it would be during the office hours again next month. Yeah, so that's mostly from my side. Anything else, folks, do you want to talk for the release planning? If not, then let's jump on to the open floor, and I'll hand over the mic to Daniel.
All right. So I think next month would be then a good opportunity to have a bug smashing day, perhaps, and we could. There's no release, so we have more flexibility around the time that we could have it. So how about we pin a date in the calendar and just stick to it? What would be a good time?
So in my opinion, 4th of September, that week, we would be having the release. So maybe just maybe we could target the we could target 8th of September, having the bug smashing day, and then the following week we have the office hours where we can give a report. Thoughts?
Okay. Any thoughts? Anything? I mean, it sounds good to me. Anyone has other thoughts about that? Maybe we should also check the vacation calendar to see if there's people around. But besides that, sounds good. Okay, so let's aim for that, unless it changes with the vacations and so on. Still holidays, holidays time, kind of.
Yeah. Cool. I think then that's set. Maybe then we can create the entries like on the discussion board, uh, and the issues. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So we have nothing else on the agenda. Do you folks have anything else to talk or want to discuss in the open floor? If not, then we can end this meeting here. Thanks all for joining, and see you next month then.
See you. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Thanks, everyone.